doubted me. I'ma work to my last breath. I'ma hustle to my last breath. Yeah, you should've never doubted me. The pain and the struggle followed me. My daddy never not bothered me. And these cold streets made a man of me. Know a time it'll come, they doubt me. Had to keep them OGs round.
Thank you.
Keep the young homie grounded. You never know.
To the members of the governance team in SAF, to all those members of the National Transformation Alliance who are here tonight, and above all, to the residents of Lopinot, thank you for being here. It was good for me to be here. The first time on my arrival, I was able to see real parang. That was good. Not what it is, bring the ham for the Christmas and the roast fowl for the Christmas and the suka parang. This was real parang. It was good. And you all are real. There's a lot that I can say tonight. What I would not say is that we are not here to throw a sales pitch here to you all. We are real as well. What you see is what you get. Trinidad and Tobago, we are experiencing our darkest hour. And that is not because of the citizens of this great country. It has to do, unfortunately, with the politicians. Politicians in this country, we have divided this country. And it is deliberate. Politicians go out of their way to cause division. Because when you cause that division, it helps you in your end result, which is to win an election. I have seen and heard things for the last few years that I never thought I would see in this country. And I will say things that it may not be the right thing that may win votes. But one thing I can assure you, as Gary Griffith, I will always be honest to you and I'll be true. And one of the things, I'll give you an example, has to do with how politicians and even persons in political parties, they go out of their way to cause division, to cause hatred, to cause bitterness. One of the lines is this line called the 1%. And politicians and most political parties will not speak about it because they're afraid that it may affect the 99%. But it is disgusting that any politician or activist or whatever you want to call yourself can use that word 1%. What is that 1%? The Syrian-Lebanese community. You feel that by casting some type of, by demonizing one arm of the country, you could win over the other 99%. That is division. We do not want that in this country. And no politician has ever stood up to say that 1% line is the most disgusting thing you could hear, because that is the start of division in this country. Because after that so-called 1%, what next? The Chinese community, then you go into the mixed community. When will it be you? We have to stop this division. That division is what has continued to destroy Trinidad and Tobago. And I've seen it right now. Even as we look right now with this political party that is in government, they spend all of their time speaking about hate, division, bitterness, race, and it is to the benefit of them. But it is not to the benefit of you, the citizens of this great country. I have seen it over and over. Even with this government, I am not here to any of you all who may be supporters of the PNM, the UNC, the ABC, the XYZ. That is your right. I will never see you as the enemy. The enemy could never be those who have your own political view. And if you leave here today and you still believe you want to be PNM till you're dead, or you're born a UNC and you're going to die a UNC, that is your right. That could never make you the enemy. Why is it there's only 2 days in this country, 2 days for the year, we could ever be united, which is Carnival Monday and Tuesday, and maybe Christmas Day? Because the politicians take control and they go out of their way to cause that division, to cause that hatred, to cause that bitterness, and it must end. So what this government, they do now, they spend more time trying to demonize anyone that doesn't have a red party card in their back pocket. You cannot expect to want to govern a country when you hate half of the country. I have no intention to go down that road. When people speak about the enemy, as I said, could never be your political opponents. They just have a difference in political opinion. The enemy are those people who deprive you of your most fundamental right of safety and security. The enemy are those who will try to rape your family, kidnap, steal. And then when I call those people cockroaches, people have a problem. Well, I could tell you something, and I will stick to it. If someone tries to rape your wife, kidnap your daughter, kill your son, they are cockroaches. And anyone who does not see that, then you are part of the problem. And I am sticking to it. I know who the enemy is. The enemy, again, as I said, are those people who are against democracy. We are no longer in a democratic society. We have a government that, unfortunately, they are going out of their way to ensure that there's no longer democracy in this country. This is what you call a democratic dictatorship, where they try to control every aspect of independent bodies. We saw it recently with myself, with the Police Service Commission. The Police Service Commission has now, in the last Police Service Commission, they became totally compromised because politicians interfered. Politicians have interfered in the police service, they've interfered in the judiciary. Every single aspect they have interfered. That is the first sign of dictatorship. We have now, unfortunately, been coming into what is known as a police state, where it is even the police service has become so politicized because individuals do not know when to stand up. So when it is that I was a commissioner of police and politicians will try to influence me to turn in a certain direction to target political opponents, I will say no. If it is that you are a blind loyalist and you support someone blindly, that doesn't make you a good leader. We have 4 principles in the National Transformation Alliance, and those 4 principles assisted me when I was Minister of National Security, when I was Commissioner of Police, even before when I was National Security Advisor, even before that, for 15 years when I spent in service in for my country in the Defense Force. 3 times I swore an oath to office, as a soldier, as a politician, and as a police officer. And all 3 times I swear that oath in office, I remember that oath to my God, to my country, and to the citizens of this country. And unfortunately, politicians forget that oath in office. I give you the assurance, the people here with me are not yes people. I do not want yes people. Sadly, political leaders want that because they could do what they want. And then when they lose direction, the country fails. The team that I select will always be a team that will ensure that we not could govern, but we can serve. We can ensure that we could provide you with all that you need. So I'm not here today to tell you we're going to fix your roads and we're going to fix your lives. I'm here to tell you we are going to serve, and we are going to work darn hard to serve you. I worked 18 hours a day, 7 days a week as a Minister of National Security. The results were there. It was the highest reduction in serious crime in 15 years. Then, as Commissioner of Police, I worked 18 hours a day, 7 days a week. The results were there. It was the highest reduction in violent crime in 25 years. My last year, from August 2020 to August 2021, we had 342 murders. It was the highest reduction we had seen in 15 years, the lowest number of murders since 2004. The year after I left, it is now 586 in that year, the highest spike in the history of our country. And we have a Minister of National Security and an acting Commissioner of Police having the audacity to say, we are in control, don't worry about it. And then try to lie and to mislead the country to say that legal firearms have been the cause, when 100% of all murders committed by firearms in the last few years, bar one, has been by illegal firearms. If you do not admit that there is a problem, you certainly cannot solve the problem. So what I did as a Minister of National Security and Commissioner of Police was able to bring the best minds together. And I do not care what political party you hold. That is what we intend to do. We intend to make sure we have Team Trinidad and Tobago under the National Transformation Alliance being part of government. Team Trinidad and Tobago is getting the best minds available to work together as one, to unify Trinidad and Tobago. Others try to divide, destroy. We intend to unite. We intend to build. We intend to be productive. We intend to listen. We intend to serve. Not just to lead, but to serve. And the only way that can be done is by you speaking to us, trusting us, believing in us. I heard the comments by certain persons about your minister. And I'm not here to knock ministers, but that is a typical problem in this country. You get into government, you put persons as members of parliament, and then when they get the glorified position as a minister, with a Prado and security and a fancy building, you forget your office, you forget your constituents, you forget who put you there. We have no intention to do that. If it is that you want to be a member of parliament in a constituency, your focus should be on your constituency. But many persons, when you get into government, you get 23, 24 seats, the Prime Minister now wants to fix them to make sure they're comfortable and they're happy. And then when doing that, who suffers? It goes from the top. The Prime Minister in this country, he has never walked his constituency in decades. That is in Diego Martin West. So the leadership by example, if you're not going to serve the constituents who put you there, you take them for granted because you believe that's P&M territory or whatever, you actually take them for granted and you're not going to get the service that you desire. I intend to make sure that every aspect of Trinidad and Tobago can be developed to optimum level, inclusive of this community. And it cannot happen if it is that you just have yes people around you. So as I said, when I worked as a Minister of National Security, Commissioner of Police, I wanted the best minds available. And recently as Commissioner of Police, we did. We were able to transform what was arguably seen as probably the most disliked arm in the public service, which was the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service. In August 2018, the public trust and confidence in the police service was 14%, 1-4, it was the lowest. Within 3 years, it was transformed to 55%, among the highest in the public trust and confidence that the public saw in any arm of the public service. 1 year later, it's probably down to less than 10%. And there's a reason why we did this. It wasn't because of Gary Griffith, it was because of a team. I built a team around me to ensure that we can succeed, because I do not like to fail. And I promise you that the team that we will build around us will transform Trinidad and Tobago. Because the police service, when I saw the cracks, the chinks in the arm of the police service, I had to put principles in place to transform that police service. And that's why people started believing in the police service, trusting the police service. Children started saying they wanted to be a police officer because we put focus on leadership, ensuring that you lead by example. Every time I get a chance, I'll be there, going out there with my troops. As a leader, you never let people do, those under your command, do anything that you are not prepared to do yourself. And that is leadership. Accountability, making sure that each and every police officer in every station, every rank, they're accountable for their actions. We then made sure that there was good management, making sure there's a structure, there's that pyramid, that chain of command, and making sure there was proper management to ensure productivity. And finally, that measurement of performance, making sure police officers, we look to see how long it took you to get to a location, listening to the reports from citizens, looking at the 999, GPS tracking, Operation Command Center, by then making you accountable. Those principles that transform the police service can transform Trinidad and Tobago, and we intend to use those principles to make this the best this country can be. I ask you to believe in us, trust in us. It can work, it would work. We have a long way to go. But what we are seeing now is persons willing to destroy this country because of their zeal to hold power. On 2 occasions, I lost my job because I stood on principle. And there are certain activists that laugh about it, but they can never hold a position because they do not understand that oath in office. No job could be ever so much that you will decide to turn a blind eye to what is right. I did it as the Minister of National Security, and I did it as Commissioner of Police. So when this Prime Minister speaks about Gary Griffith being his biggest mistake, how could I be your biggest mistake when you told your own cabinet in March last year, if you have 10 Gary Griffiths, you can transform the country? How could I be your biggest mistake when April last year you told your Attorney General, I cannot lose Gary Griffith, make sure that you change the law so he can continue to act? But there's an unfortunate situation in this country when evil is fighting hard to overcome good. Darkness is trying to do its best to take away the light of this country. Evil will not prevail. Darkness will not prevail. We will do all that we can to transform Trinidad and Tobago. And there are simple things, using that same model that I did to transform the police service to be the best that it can be, to get the public to buy into it. We will do the same for every aspect in Trinidad and Tobago. It is simple management. So when people try to look at the individuals, yes, my expertise is security, but that is your fundamental right at this time. And I intend to use my talent, use my expertise to ensure that you, each and every one of you, could be as safe as possible. And we can't turn this around because the data was there. We were cutting it down bit by bit. The criminals pegged, they were pegging back. There was fear, if not respect. The police service was moving at optimum level, and we saw the results. That was not by chance. It was not by chance that as soon as I left, we took a nosedive. We can transform Trinidad and Tobago, ladies and gentlemen, in this community. I ask you to believe that we can turn around this country. We believe we can make this a better country. Believe that good would overcome evil. Do not give up hope in this country. All it takes is for us to circle the wagons and let you not perceive for a minute that this so-called, what they call a third party, or a party that is not one of the major parties, cannot do it. This started in 1981 under the ONR with 91,000 votes. 10 years later, in 1991, that group of individuals of that constituency that are not PNM till are dead or are born at UNC and are going to die at UNC, then moved to 127,000 under the NAR in 1991. 16 years later, it then moved in 2007 to the Congress of the People with 147,000 votes. Note, 91,000, 127, 147. 15 years later, it is now the National Transformation Alliance, and that is not a political party that's just there to get into government. It is based on a belief. It is based on the fact that you don't have to believe that you must be in a culture or even a cult to believe that you must be a PNM or a UNC till you're dead. There is no such thing and no value to you or your family by having blind loyalty to any political party. Your blind loyalty should be a football team that you may have, not a political party. It is your right to select. It is your right to choose. It is your right to believe. And I ask you all simply just believe. Believe that we can do this. We intend to do everything in our power to unite Trinidad and Tobago. Politicians have divided it. We intend to unite it. And when we unite, we circle the wagons. I give the assurance to each and every one of you that Trinidad and Tobago will be the best that you can be. We intend to make Trinidad and Tobago safe again. We intend to transform Trinidad and Tobago. We just ask you all to believe. I thank you.